Alright, in this section we're going to be looking at conversion rate optimization. So we've talked about conversion rates and how important they are in the last lecture. But this time, in this lecture, we're going to be looking at how we can optimize that rate. So just as a refresher, the conversion rate is the number of conversions over the number of visitors to the website. Now, this formula is really simple and it's shown geographically here. So just say if you've got 100 visitors to the website and you get 20 conversions, your conversion rate is going to be 20 over 100. Right? Simple as that. Now, conversion rate optimization is the process of improving this rate. Now, it's important to remember that the conversion rate is going to be different for different websites. So for a retail website, the primary conversion rate might be the number of products sold on the website. So if a visitor goes to the website, they go through, look at the products, select it, add it to the cart, go to the cart, fill out their information, go to pay through PayPal or whatever they use, or enter their details, get delivered, and bang, order goes through. That's a conversion, right? So, however, that's for a retail website, it might be purchases. For, to say, a lead generation website, it might be something different. It's a number of leads to do there. So their conversion rates are going to be different, and the way that they measure it's going to be the same formula, but the actual conversions themselves are going to be different. And again, the different types of websites are going to have different conversions. Now, to make it more complicated, again, sometimes often websites will have multiple objectives and therefore multiple conversions. So it might be someone going to a website and they might be buying something, but then they'll also sign up for the newsletter. So that's two conversions that happen by that one user. So it's really two conversions over one. So the conversion rate in that particular instance would be 200, right? It doesn't not normally go over 100, but in this case, because that one person's done two different conversions, it's getting recorded twice over one visitor. Now, when we talk about improving or optimizing the conversion rate, you might go then, well, if we want to improve the conversion rate, why don't we just measure more conversions? That's going to improve the rate. And that's true, but you're only tricking yourself. So it's much more important to define the conversion rate at the beginning and what's important to your business, and then improve that. So you're not trying to improve the metric, you're trying to improve what that metric measures. And if you're in a retail business and you're selling things, obviously you want to be improving the sales that are going through your website. So now, conversion rate optimization is used extensively in digital marketing. So I really want you guys to be familiar with this and being able to use it. So one way that we do it is with A/B testing. So conversion rate optimization often uses A/B testing, which is a methodical test. It's a way to methodically test alternate versions of a web page or a process of going through that web page. So A/B testing is a powerful technique for evaluating the success of a specific design element. Now, the way that it works is you'll have a home page. So just say if you go to kevinsmarketing.com.au, all right? Now, my website is going to throw up version A randomly for one customer, and then the next customer is going to randomly throw up version B. So I don't know which customer is going to get what version, but basically I've got two versions of my website, and my website's smart enough to go alternate them either between visitors or randomly select which version it's going to be. All right. So it's important to understand that you're going to have two different types of pages. One is the control, which is version A. So if I've got a default web page or a landing page and go, oh, I want to make an adjustment, but I'm not sure if it's going to be better, I'm going to make that adjustment and use that as version B, which is the challenger. And I'm going to randomly allocate either one of those versions to visitors. Then I can see if I get enough data coming through, I can see which of those versions is performing better. So it's a powerful technique for evaluating the success of specific design elements. And A/B tests are one of the most commonly known and used techniques for online evaluation of user interaction. So it's important that we learn, as digital marketers, we learn how to do this. And I want you to understand the science behind this as well. So A/B testing helps marketers to analyze how one version of content outperforms alongside another version. Now, the way that we do this, so we should have done statistics at the first year of business. So you might ask yourself, well, what's the best statistical test for A/B testing? Now, there's no single best test for A/B testing, as the most appropriate test is going to depend on the specific goals that you're doing for that test, the hypothesis that you're formulating, and the data properties of each experiment. However, some commonly used tests include students' t-test, and this is the one that I would default go to in my mind, because this is a statistical test. So remember t-test, we've done this before in statistics, and we'll be doing this in marketing research as well if you haven't done that yet. This is a statistical hypothesis test used to determine whether the means of the two populations are equal. So now imagine this. So if you've got a website, version A, which is the default, and version B, which is the challenger. Now you go mean, so that's the average, right? So how much is version A, how much money is going through that one? What's the average sale per user on that website compared to the average sales per user on that one? So you've got the means, and you're basically going, are they different? And you can see that with simple descriptive statistics, you can just measure the means to go, yes, they're different. But because if we get enough data, we can test for significance and go, are they statistically significant? Then we can extrapolate that data to our population and we can make informed decisions based on that data. So you can go, oh, hello, you know, I've gone to university, I've learned how to do digital marketing, I know how to do A/B testing. I know how to do these statistical tests. If we have version, let's do A/B test to work out which website's performing better. Give me the data for version A. Give me the data for version B. Run a t-test. Come up with the, check the alpha, which we'll talk about in a sec. Yes, it's significant. Therefore, based on this data and this test, we can confidently say version B is better. All right, and that's very powerful knowledge to be able to give to decision makers, right? Now the Z-test is a type of hypothesis test that's similar to a t-test, but it's used when the population standard deviation is known, which you might know that, but in most cases I can't imagine how you'd know that. If you've already done this testing before and you go, all right, so we expect we've already got data on what our customer base is. And we already know these things, you'll have that, and then it might be a little bit more accurate. Now the chi-squared test, this is a statistical test to determine if there is a significant difference between the expected and observed frequencies in one or more categories. This is the key thing. So the first one, students' t-test, is measuring means, all right? So it's like either like money or time, because this is a continuous variable, right? You go, well, how much money are they spending? That's a real number and it's a continuous variable. How much time are they spending? That's a real number, it's a continuous variable. But for categories, you might go, well, which state do they live in? Are we getting a significant difference between people living in Tasmania compared to people living in Melbourne? All right? Now, Tasmania and Melbourne, they aren't continuous variables, they are categorical variables. So in there, you do a chi-squared test. And then we could do a ANOVA test, which stands for analysis of variance. This is a statistical method used to test the difference between two or more means. So it's similar to the student's t-test. Ultimately, the choice of test will depend on the characteristics of the data, the specific hypothesis being tested, and the goals of the experiment. All right, so obviously knowing how to do A/B tests is important. Now, marketers use A/B tests to determine if difference in two versions are statistically significant. So it's one thing just measuring it and looking at descriptive data and going, yes, there is a difference. There's another thing being able to use that data and go, there's a significant difference, and extrapolate it. Now, the random controlled trial experiments, RCTs, this is one of the most powerful ways of generating conclusive results. So these experiments determine if there's a causal link. If the revisions on page B is actually causing customers to spend more money. Now, if you're a smart person, you might go, whoa, hang on, that's a big claim to make. The changes that we made are actually causing that. There might be a correlation there and going, oh yeah, well, we've seen the results, and it turns out that B, there's a relationship, page B, when we use that one, people are selling more. But to say that that's causing it, it's a big thing to say. So variables are often included in conversion rates, but also click-through rates and average revenue per user. So to set this up, we'll have a format our hypotheses first, and we'll go HO, which is our null hypothesis. That's the standard one. So I'm going to go back a slide here, or 2 slides I mean. So that's version A, which is our control. So that's saying there's no difference. So if we go the average time on the page per user is just say 2 minutes, we're saying version A and version B are going to be, there's no statistically significant difference between there. Now, not saying that there's going to be variation in there, because some person might go to A and spend 5 minutes, one person might go to B and spend 30 seconds, but we're looking overall with enough data if they're statistically significant. Now, the alternate hypothesis, H1, means that those two, so if we're measuring if we're measuring time spent on page, we're saying yes, they are statistically significant. Now, in here, the probability is explained. So if the observed variable that we're using, the value that we get, is beyond our 95% threshold, so that would be, this is a one-tailed test by the looks of it. So that'd be our alpha of 0.05. We're going to be going, yes, it's statistically significant. If you got trouble with this, ask me in email, or we'll go through it in the workshop. All right. Now, A/B testing statistics. So the population, if we are doing, so I've got this one here. He explains it quite well, I think. I'll put the link in the content. So the population would be our total potential visitors to the website. Our sample that we're collecting then would be the visitors to the website during that testing period, right? Now, know that the sample should be representative, and we can do a quick analysis of that. So you'll be getting, so if you look at your users and go, oh, hang on, we've got a sale on, or it's Christmas time. So, the people normally going to our website aren't exactly representative of what would normally be there. That's going to skew the results for your test. So you want to make sure that the people coming to your website are representative of the people that would normally come into your website throughout this test. So lift, and that's the digital marketing term to talk about the new conversion rate divided by the old conversion rate, which basically means how much the new page is increasing the conversion rate, or decreasing. Now, confidence is the confidence level. In science, we lock it in at 95 is the default, a half alpha. If we've got a two-tailed test, we'll be 0.25. If it's just increasing, most of the time it will just be an alpha of 0.5, which will be here, all right? So our p-value then would be set to 0.05, and then the metric then that we're measuring for this test will be the conversion rate. So I'm going to go back a slide here. So the grey bit here would be our 0.5 alpha, so our 95% statistical threshold, and our observed value, if the p-value is smaller than that, so there we know that it's statistically significant with a 95 confidence level. All right, now that you know about A/B testing, I want to introduce you to the concept of A/B/N testing. Now, A/B/N testing, or A/B/X testing, or ABC, or AB+, there's a few different names for it, is similar, but it represents more than just two versions. It's multiple versions. Now, the N then, in this one, so Google Analytics used to call it A/B/N testing, it represents the number of versions. Now, remember I said before, digital marketing is, it's got a lot of marketing people in there, of course, but it also has ICT people in there, design people in there. So we've got a lot of, and statistics people in there, like data analysis, data scientists, all these types of people in there. So we've got terminology coming from multiple fields here. So while we might call it A/B/N testing, different people like data scientists that are doing the analysis on this might call it something slightly different. So in statistics, N represents the number of events occurring. So it's A, B, and it could be C, D, E, F, G. N just means however many more that are coming beyond that. So A/B/N testing helps marketers to analyze which website versions or combinations of variations generate the best traffic. It's a more advanced form of website analysis that uses multivariate testing. Now, so I don't expect you to be doing this multivariate testing in this class. I'm going to try and teach you about it as much as possible. But the A/B testing is pretty much as far as we're going to go. But I want you to know about it, because if you learn about A/B testing and thinking, oh, you've got this under control, and then you go get a job in a digital marketing agency and they're using ABN testing, I want you to at least know about it so you feel comfortable, getting into it. So conversion rate optimization. Good website design is not about creating websites that look nice. All right, so and that's a really important point, because digital marketing belongs to marketing. You're going to get a lot of other people telling you, we want to create websites that look nice. So you get graphic designers and stuff. Their primary aim is to design a website that the client goes, wow, that looks amazing. Your design features are great, and that's all good from their perspective. But remember, from a business perspective, it can't just look good. It needs to achieve the strategic objectives of our organisation. So good website design is about creating and optimising websites for conversion. That conversion rate is going to be defined by us as marketing managers about the objectives of the website. Websites need to be continually optimised to provide performance. I need to stress this, you don't make a website and leave it, right? Customers are always changing. Their needs, wants and demands are constantly changing. There's trends, the marketplace is changing. You can't just make a good website and go, yes, I've optimized it. Let's just let this one go for a few years and then we'll update it in 5 years. No, good digital marketing is constantly revising. And you can see that happening on some of the biggest organizations in the world, like companies that spend a lot of money in marketing. Their websites are constantly changing, and not just for you that go in there, but for all the websites. So you might be seeing one version of the website, your mates might be viewing another version, and then your mum and dad a different version altogether. Now, optimization should be based on A/B testing. That's a key point. As digital marketers, you can't go in there, oh, let's just try something new and just suck it out your thumb. I want you to use this statistics and data analysis to be able to go, it's informed decision making. This is the best version. We can be confident, within 95% confidence, that this decision to use this website is the best decision. Right, I'm going to leave it there, and then we're going to talk about page elements.